was just thinking about drama on YouTube, and I mean, there's a lot to be said about drama on YouTube, I think. In fact, if I was going to... No, I won't bother about it now. But just because obviously I'm looking at the word drama from somebody who works in theatre, because I've been in theatre for 25 years or so. So the word drama has a very particular set of models and associations and principles and practices and theories and ideas around it. So, and as I say, there's a lot to be said about YouTube drama in those terms. But I'm not really thinking about that right now. I'm thinking about that particular aspect of it, which is about calling people by name. You know what I mean? 'Cause I might be wrong here, but a lot of the stuff about that we call drama on YouTube is about talking about individuals. You know, this person will be called out on something, and their character will be analysed, and their actions and their personal messages will be quoted, and their their videos will be discussed, and and their relationships with others, you know what I mean, be triangulated, so you get this full picture. So you kind of get this psychological profile of this character, and how this character relates to this other character within some kind of plot and narrative, and a description of how this character runs through the narrative, and maybe seen to be an agonist or an antagonist at various points. You know, that's kind of how it's working. But what it always strikes me as, not always actually, but what it often strikes me as, is how inappropriate it sometimes feels. You know, how inappropriate. Because I sometimes think that this idea of kind of psychologically real human beings, the way that we are in real life, you know what I mean, where our psychology maps onto our body, and our body has to present itself in certain kinds of interactions with other people's bodies, and has to relate to limited resources in certain kinds of ways, and all that kind of stuff to do with space and territory, you know, all the kind of stuff that human meat psychology works at, just feels inappropriate actually a lot of the time. And I'm just wondering whether the individual psychology, the individual human psychology, is a good medium of exchange, is a good piece of currency for conversation. I think it isn't, you know, which is why I think when drama breaks out and it's all about she said, he said, they did this, they said that, all that kind of stuff, it all feels really like crap. It just feels trivial, because the medium of exchange feels wrong. You know, that token of currency where you're moving these these individual psychologies around and lining them up into stories and all that kind of stuff. It just feels like you're working with the wrong tokens. I don't know what the replacement would be, but I don't think it's that kind of individual psychologically realistic, closed individual human being that you find in classical drama and stories and narratives and plays and things and movies. Something else. Maybe it's channels, I don't know. The Chad did a video a while back on the anti-broadcast channel about looking after your channel. That was quite interesting. You know, there's something quite interesting there about it. It's about, you know, what is the, you know, what are the fracture lines? How does this, you know, how does this world break up? How do you carve it up at the joints? I don't think you can carve it up at the joints of individual psychologies. I don't think it makes sense. And when you try to, it looks shit. So I suppose I'm just wondering what are the joints? What are the bits of things you move about? What kind of relationships are those bits in? And what kinds of structures do those bits make? That sounded really incoherent, didn't it? Oh well. Yeah, drama is too much like real life. It doesn't work. It doesn't map properly onto itself, I think.